Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So another interesting game from the recently ended French team championship between Vladimir Hamitevici and Paolo Velten. I hope I have pronounced the names correctly, so let's see what happened in the game. Vladimir Hamitevici had white pieces and he started with c4, e5, g3, knight to f6, bishop to g2, bishop to c5, knight to c3. And we have the so-called King's English variation of English opening, normal developing moves, followed of course c6, e3, black castles king side, and now knight from g goes to e2, and now black strikes the center with d5. White continues with c pawn captures on d5, knight recaptures, and c pawn captures on d5. So black has obtained a strong center, and here white should continue with counter-striking the center with d4. After d4, both pawn and the bishop are attacked. So black would probably capture with pawn, but even if black removes the bishop, white destroys black's strong center. In the game, however, queen to b3 was played. Double attack on this pawn on d5. The only possible way to defend it is bishop to e6, but then this pawn on b7 is for free. So black played knight to c6. Queen captures pawn on d5, offering the trade of queens. Black doesn't go for it. Queen to e7 was played, preparing bishop to e6, developing the bishop with tempo. So white removes the queen to e4, and now f5. Again attacking the queen. White queen indeed has no rest. Now the best continuation for white would be to deploy the queen to some active square, let's say a4, and then continue with the development. But white had other plans. Queen goes back to b1. So for a sacrificed pawn, black is almost done with development. King is castled and black also has a space advantage, so more than enough compensation for the pawn. Now here white expects f4, and then bishop to e4 is possible, targeting this pawn on h7, and this is exactly what happened in the game. f4 was played, now bishop goes to e4. Pawn on h7 is under attack, but black doesn't care. Bishop to h3 was played, preventing white to castle. White can capture pawn on h7, but after bishop to h7, king h8. Now sooner or later white is going to have to remove this bishop from h7, losing yet another tempo. White is already in an unpleasant position. Maybe knight to g1, attacking the bishop, would be an appropriate choice, but no. Rook to g1 was played. Interesting move. So white lost the right to castle king side, but intends to capture on f4, and then rook to g3, driving this bishop away at the appropriate moment, of course. Black continues with rook from a goes to d8. Black is fully developed and stands better. Now white continues with a3, preparing b4, driving the bishop away. So black plays a5, preventing. Pawn on h7 is still at stake, but white doesn't decide to capture. Queen to c2 was played. Now king goes to h8, avoiding direct check from the bishop, if of course bishop decides to capture, but white doesn't go for it. Instead d3 was played, putting more pressure on this pawn on f4. Now black has to do something about it. Well, black had an interesting option at his disposal, and this is sacrificing the bishop. After bishop to e3, white would have to recapture with bishop, and then f-pawn captures, so material would be equal. If, however, white would try to keep the bishop by capturing with an f-pawn, then f3 is a killer move, attacking the knight, and after knight is removed, then f2, forking both king and the rook, threatening to promote also. Now here black would have to either capture with bishop or give away the knight. Either way, black is winning. In the game, however, f-pawn captures on f3. Bishop recaptures, and now f-pawn recaptures on e3. So white tries to improve his position, but the problem is that king is not safe, and black further continues the attack. Rook to c8 was played, preparing this cover attack on the queen. Let's see, after a random move, rook to b1, then knight to b4, attacking the queen. Queen can go either to d2 or d1. If queen goes to d2, then rook c2. Queen can go only to the only square left, d1, but then queen f6. It's gonna be mate or severe material loss. If, however, here queen goes to d1 immediately, then knight to c2 check. Queen can capture, but then white loses decisive material. After king to d2, the only other move, knight captures pawn on e3, attacking the queen, and also rook to c2 is coming. And if king captures knight on e3, then queen g5 check. Well, king cannot go anywhere and can also only play knight f4, but then e-pawn captures, check. Now let's see. There are more options. After king d4, queen c5 checkmate. If king e2, then bishop to g4. White loses decisive material, and furthermore it's mate in 8 moves, but I'll leave it for you to find it. If, however, king goes to d2, it's mate in 3, f3 check, king e1, queen e3, queen e2, and queen e2 checkmate. Okay, so in the game white plays queen to d2, avoiding this cover attack, queen to f7, and again, if white blunders with, let's say, rook b1, then queen f1, rook f1, rook f1, checkmate. So white plays knight to c3, creating an escape square on e2, but black doesn't care. Queen to f1 was played nevertheless. So rook has to capture, there's no other option, and rook recaptures. King has to go to e2, and now rook captures, rook on a1. So white lost both rooks, but still has the queen. In normal position this should be enough compensation for white, but this position is very tricky. Black has a simple plan, rook to f8. Now you can see all these squares are taken, and bishop to f1 would be checkmate. So white king is kind of trapped and desperately needs an escape square. So it was vital for white to play d4, creating an escape square on d3. In the game, white saw the things otherwise. Bishop captures knight on c6. B-pawn recaptures on c6, and now knight to e4. So white threatens with capturing pawn on a5, and then pawn on e5. King would have an escape square on d2, but black is on the move and plays bishop to g4 check. King goes to f2 as there isn't any other options. Rook to f8 check. King to g2, again the only option, and now rook from f goes to f1. If white makes a random move, let's say b3, then rook g1, king f2, rook from a goes to f1 checkmate. If white tries with h4, then bishop to f3, king h3, rook h1. Yeah, white can delay the mate with queen h2, but after rook h2, king h2, rook h1, checkmate. Okay, so in the game white he decided to lose immediately. Knight to f2 was played, and black finished with rook to g1, checkmate. So I hope you liked this game, I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.